Well, greetings again to the brightest audience in America. We are diving deep into the Walt Brown controversy. We have looked at his attempts to try to solve it personally, and so what they've done through mediation, and we'll see what's happening next. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see where to find these documents. Make myself smaller. We'll just go into this. And so it's going to be hydroplate.org, hydroplate.org. You go in there, go into hydroplate resources, down to hydroplate controversy, and go right up to the top there. It says hydroplate timeline, and click on that. And that is a tremendous, tremendous tool, because what you can see is you can go from, these are all laid out in chronological order. And we went through a lot of these. We've read a lot of these things before. And we went down to December 29th. The letter from Brown to Morris, that's the one we did last time. So let's see what happens. Doesn't look like anything. Oh, let's see. Maybe there's one more letter. Oh, here we go. January, letter from Morris to Brown. And then after this, there's going to be years without anything happening. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Morris responds to Brown. Okay, get your popcorn. Here we go. We're diving in. January 12th, 1995, letter from Morris to Brown. This is Thursday, January 12th. It's on ICR letterhead, Institute for Creation Research letterhead. And this is what it says. This is from Henry Morris going to Walt Brown. And it says, Dear Walter, in your letter of January 20th, you indicate that you feel no need to adhere to the terms of the June 21st mediation agreement. Although we think your reasoning is wrong in this, we respect your decision and will live with it. As far as we ourselves are concerned, however, we intend to abide by the mediation agreement. In our understanding, it was not contingent upon our counting the number of copies of the first printing of the Grand Canyon book, but upon our publishing the errata sheet as soon as it was available. We did this with all remaining copies and would have done it at any time you and Steve could have agreed upon its content. Wait a minute. We did this? That doesn't make sense. We did this with all remaining copies and would have done it at any time you and Steve could have agreed upon its content, regardless of how many copies were involved. You were unable to reach such an agreement, however, so Peter Robinson had to prepare a compromise wording on November 14. By this time, less than 150 copies remained, but we inserted an errata sheet into all these copies. The second printing is out, and it does include the revised footnote in the form stipulated by the Mediation Council. Furthermore, our staff has unanimously agreed not to refer to this conflict in any future publications or public meetings. We do not intend even to mention you or your theories unless people insist upon bringing them up and demanding an answer. In that, we will try to be as positive as possible, but in honesty, we cannot, as an organization, endorse your particular flood model or any other that goes beyond what is written or strongly implied in Scripture. If someone asks about the origination of the so-called breach dam idea, we shall simply refer them to Steve Austin. He in turn will fax you for permission to email the errata sheet and joint statement to the Inquirer. This is the procedure agreed on in the mediation agreement. Page 2. As I have often stated before, neither Steve nor any of our staff have ever plagiarized anything you have written or spoken, and we shall not do so in the future. Neither have any of us, to our knowledge, defamed you or demeaned your work, either in publication or public meetings, and we shall not do so in the future. As you requested, my complete file on this dispute has been given to Dr. William McCandless, the vice chairman of our ICR Board of Trustees, for his review. He has gone over all of it and will make a report and recommendation at our upcoming board meeting. Another member of our board, Dr. Dan Mantell, has has also reviewed the file. Mr. Manthe was on the 1987 Grand Canyon trip, and he remembers that Steve discussed the breach dam concept with the group in considerable detail at the time. He has noted that this was before you were writing on the topic. In any case, if our board should make a different determination, either Dr. McCandless or I will let you know. Although not germane to the mediation topic, I should mention that the ICR monograph, which you alleged to contain a possibly plagiarized section, is out of print, out of stock, and will not be reprinted. The history book about which you complained is also out of print. In fact, it only had one printing and sold fewer copies than any other book we have ever published. A newer edition has now been published with the section on the history of your organization deleted. I would hope these actions will satisfy you. If not, and if you carry out your threat to turn all this material over to the enemies of our mutual cause, so be it. I am sure you realize that such an action would hurt your ministry at least as much as ours, as well as the cause of Christ in general. That is between you and the Lord. Our consciences are clear of the whole situation, so we shall simply leave it in the hands of God. Sincerely yours in Christ, Henry Morris. And he CC'd ICR Board, ICC Technical Advisory Board, CSC Board, Pat P. Robinson, K. Blankenship, Steve Austin. So that is where it ends. And that was in response. I should have tagged this on to this letter from the December 29th. I did not realize there was going to be a big break there. But this is what he's responding to. And maybe in the future, this will get edited to the end. But if you want to see that, let's see, what did we call that one? I think we called that. You can see some of these things on the Week of Celebration YouTube channel. Let's see, controversy, mediation, fallout. And what did we call the list? Call this one here. We'll go into the live playlist. And this one is mediation. Oh, they're both mediation, fallout. Okay, so I'll make mediation, fallout number 1, and this will be mediation, fallout number 2. And so then you can get all the information. And again, on this timeline, that's not what we want. On this timeline, this is really cool. And I would suggest if you want to get the highlights of it, let's go into the timeline. Letters from Morris to Brown. That's the January 12th one. And as you can see, nothing is going to happen for years and years. How did we get that? Go back. Okay, so nothing's going to happen in 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2002. That's when the next thing is going to be. So we'll jump into that. That's when the next player jumps into this saga. Wow, that timeline is sure sensitive. Let's see, can we get back into the timeline? Okay, the hydroplate controversy. That's how we got here. You might want to just check this out yourself. Go into, let's see, this would be hydroplate.org. Go into resource, format resources. Go into hydroplate controversy. And there may be in the future a list of everything in chronological order as you go down. But at this point in time, there's not. So you can find it on the timeline. And this is where we're at. And so we've gone through a lot of these. If you just have to do one, I think the mediation notes by Walt Brown would be really good. And so we're going to fast forward at our next talk. It's going to be up until 2001. And we'll take a peek at what happens there. So this was a rather short one. It should be added on to the controversy number part 1, fallout part 1, and fallout part 2. So this is where they're at. They're at an impasse. So let's do a brief highlight here. Let's remove that. Okay. So why are we doing this again? There's a theory that makes accurate predictions, and it's not being discussed in any circles, evolutionists or creationists. And we're trying to rectify that. I wish somebody could give me a reason why a theory that's making accurate predictions is not being discussed. And I think it's being censored because of this plagiarism controversy. There's, I guess, that people don't want to deal with this. This is a can of worms nobody wants to talk about. And that could be what's hindering the hydroplate from being put into the mainstream. And so we want that to happen. And real quickly, we've done these. It's Yeah, and this is not to make people look bad. It's not to make organization look bad. We just want the truth to prevail, and we want this theory to get brought into the mainstream. Okay, and so some other resources, since this is rather short, we'll show you where you can find some other hydroplate resources. I'm going to share the video with you, or share my screen with you. You should still be able to hear me. Some great resources are Real Science Radio, rsr.org. rsr.org stands for Real Science Radio, and you can search plagiarism and see if Bob Enyart has done anything on that. The Grand Canyon and Initial Conditions and Plagiarism. This was done in 2018. There's a radio show where you can listen to Bob discuss this. It's about an hour long. And these are some of the things that he found noteworthy. And he goes, yeah, this is a lot of hydroplate resources. And so that's another resource. And there's also radio shows on there if you search Albright. And yeah. And you can see that on Flood Model Controversy Part 3. Apparently there's a Part 4 too. So yeah, those are Real Science Radio is very good. That's probably listed under the controversy. Yeah. Kevin Lee's Mediation Executive Summary. That's written out one. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, it is written out. Well, that's where you can find the overview. Plagiarism of Walt Brown. This is 2018. Walt Brown Mediation on the Grand Canyon. This is 2018. And so Albright Flood Model Controversy. That's number 3. I think there's another number 4 too. The controversy right here. So this is written up, the controversy. You can read about it. There's a lot of documents. Oh, this one's a new one I haven't seen. Okay, so this may be later. Flood Bible and Science, the controversy. Okay, so we're just going through sources here. If you want to learn more about the hydroplate theory itself, go into YouTube, go into Brian Nickel. He's got some excellent videos, how he animates how all this stuff happens. Answering the formation of limestone, because limestone forms carbon dioxide when it forms, and there's 60,000 times more limestone on Earth than in the atmosphere. The origin of the Grand Canyon, this is probably the best at explaining how the Grand Canyon got there. The key there is bulging and cracking 3 times. Origin of Earth's radioactivity, no flood model that I know of explains that, or even secular models. And so, yeah, this is excellent, excellent. The origin of, the 90 East Ridge, how come that points directly at the Himalayas, and it's 3,000 miles long, perfectly straight. The origin of comets, asteroids, and trans-Neptune objects. He just does a really, really good job. There's another video. There's another YouTube channel out there called Solidify Your Faith, which I think is rather good, but you can be decided. Whoops. And this has, let's see. We're going to go into Solidify Your Faith. It's live streaming right now, and it's got a hydroplate theory playlist. And you can hear Walt Brown describe his playlist, or his hydroplate theory, once and for all. And we've got a little time, so why don't we do this? All right. Yep. And you can see this is an excerpt from the Horrors of the Flood. You can get that video at Mission Imperative. Let's get this out. Okay. Yeah, you're still looking at that. Yeah, we'll show you where to get that video. It's called Mission Imperative.com or .org. I might have spelled it wrong. Oh, there it is. Mission Imperative. You go. Whoa. Okay. Then you go into the store and you're going to see this. He's got some really good ones. He's got some made for kids. Ranger Mike videos are really cool. The Ranger Mike books, digital downloads. He's got some really good things. What am I looking for? I'm looking for DVDs. Yeah, and you can't see these online. These are like Grand Canyon, the puzzle on the plateau. Every creation, every home should have that. Every church should have that. It explains everything, the Grand Staircase with Bryce and Zion and Canyonlands and Monument Valley. That's all part of the Grand Lake, and then also Petrified Forest. That's part of Hopi Lake. And that one's a really good one. And then the Monument for the Flood. Where is that? Monument for the Flood. Here it is. The Horrors of the Flood. Those two are really good flood book videos. And so I highly recommend them. Again, that's missionimperative.org. He also does safaris, which I highly recommend. I hope to get on one of them. There's one coming up in Africa next year in 2026. The Southwest Safari. I really want to get on one of them. And so, yeah, this is a way to get all the information to make informed decisions. Okay, let's get rid of this. Okay, so there you have some sources on how to get more information, and hopefully that's helpful. That's what we want. We want people to get all the information so they can make informed decisions. If you want to learn more about this controversy, Real Science Radio has some interviews on that. The week of Hydroplate Week of Celebration has some interviews on that. That would be Jane Albright and Pastor Kevin Lee. And you can see what their experiences were looking into this. And so, yeah, we just want a theory that's making accurate predictions to be brought into the mainstream. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why everybody wouldn't be excited to see it, but they are not excited to see it. So this might be one of the reasons. There's been some false allegations made about Walt Brown, and I think that might be clouding the issue. And there's even still in 2025 and 2025, creation leaders are saying some horrible things about Walt Brown and also his, Walt Brown and the hydroplate theory, deliberate deceiver. It's just really sad what's being said. And I think this has to be dealt with so that the creation movement can move on. And less people, more people would put their faith in the Bible. That's what it's all about. We want people to put their faith in the Bible. And the hydroplate theory is a Bible-based theory that makes accurate predictions. It's a powerful weapon, according to Mike Wells, who was a fighter pilot. And he could show people from 30,000 feet, evidence of the flood, especially Grand Canyon. And this is the theory that explains Grand Canyon perfectly, bulging and cracking 3 times. And so with that, we're trying to get it into the mainstream. The people on top do not want it to happen, clearly. Well, at least they might want it to happen, but there's resistance for them doing it. So it's going to have to be a grassroots movement. Start asking questions. When you see creation speakers, when you're at the museum, when you see them talking online, start asking them about the hydroplate theory. And specifically, hey, what do you think about the hydroplate, the accurate predictions of the hydroplate? And shouldn't that be discussed more? So that's what's happened. We've kind of come to the end of this series of letters. Next on stage will be Pastor Kevin Lee. And I'm very excited to see what happens there. And again, you can see Pastor Lee's personal account of this if you go into the Hydroplate Week of Celebration and search Blackballed. And you can see his personal experience. It's 6 minutes long, 6 or 7 minutes long. And again, this needs to be brought into light. We want people, I didn't even show you how to do that. Add this to the stage. You're going to go into the Hydroplate Week of Celebration. That's this right here. You're going to search Blackballed, and this is the video that'll come up. Why was Walt Brown blackballed? And in the write-up, you can see links to some of the documents And by far the best one in chronological order is hydroplate.org, and go to that timeline. And that is phenomenal. But here's some other ones you can look into. Like we read about the timeline. We read about the executive summary. We read all those. And so you can just get informed, inform others, and then again, start asking questions, because questions that aren't answered properly, they don't go away. And yeah, that's it. And one of the big questions with the Grand Canyon is, hey, how come that river flowed through the Kaibab Plateau instead of around it? It's lower at the top and the bottom of it. It should have gone through it. And why did that river cut down hard into the crystalline rock of the inner gorge? It should have got wider there into the softer sedimentary rock. So those are questions that Walt Brown answers. Oh, and I might want to do this too. I'll show you how you can do this. We're going to show you how to get a download of this video, not the video, but of Walt Brown's hydroplate theory. Go on to hpt.rsr.org. HPT for hydroplate. Oh, I spelled that wrong. hpt.rsr, RSI, realscienceradio.org. You're going to get to this place. You click the PDF, and it's all at your fingertips. It is phenomenal. And if you want to see some of his, he can do Command F. And what does he have? Proposals. And yeah, that's when he has decision trees at the end of every chapter. So there's going to be proposals, and he's going to go through all of them. And what you're going to see is a decision tree. Let's make this. These are the proposals for the origin of the Grand Canyon. Okay, and there's 8 or 9 of them on the top. These are the proposals, and then the features are on the side. And then he's got it. This is red, yellow, and green. Red means it doesn't work at all. Yellow means maybe it works kind of, and green means it fits perfectly. And as you see under those other theories, other proposals, it's red and yellow with just a couple of, a few greens scattered about. But then you also do the same thing here. And the hydroplate theory is green all the way down. And one of the things Bob Enyart was working on, he wanted to make this interactive, so people could add, other features. And then what he does as he go through is he'll go through each feature, and he'll explain every theory. And it is, every proposal, it's just phenomenal. Perpendicular faults, unusual erosion, and it's so well sourced. And I can't wait for the 9th edition to actually be out in print, because you can do Walt Brown surfing. You can go from fossils to everything. You go from one footnote to the other footnote. And he does this also for plate tectonics. And let's see if we'll find that. For plate tectonics, it might be earlier in the book. Yeah, it probably is. But he does the same thing. And plate tectonics is red and yellow all the way down. And let's just try that. Plate tectonics. That's what I like about the electronic version, is I don't have to page around. I can just go through and start looking at what they have to say. And again, there's going to be another decision tree for this eventually. And hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. And I wonder if I added proposal to it, if that would work. Proposal. Would that help? No. So we're going to have to go back to hydroplate tectonics. And what page? We got up to 155 before. Okay, and we're just going to keep on going. Okay, up to 154. Oh, well. So yeah, we want you to see plate tectonics, how that does not, his decision tree, what would you say? What would you call it? That table, the decision table. It fits the hydroplate theory, but it does not fit plate tectonics. And what he forgot to, this is page, if you want to see why subduction doesn't work, you go into page 176, and it's got 17 reasons for that. And we go through that. I do a talk on the Solidify Your Faith page called Why Plate Tectonics Doesn't Work. We go through that. Seafloor spreading doesn't work. And one of the main things, and they don't know, is how did subduction start? Start asking that question. Okay, plate tectonics, final thoughts. I like his final thoughts things. Those are pretty cool. Oh, and I love this quote. I use it all the time in my talks. This is Dr. Thomas Chamberlain Crowder, former president of the University of Wisconsin and first head of the geology department at the University of Chicago, published a famous paper in which he warned researchers not to let one hypothesis dominate their thinking. Instead, they should always have or seek multiple working hypotheses. Chamberlain stated that by testing competing hypotheses or theories, we sharpen our analytical skills, develop thoroughness, reduce bias, and learn to discriminate and think independently, not simply memorize and conform. And there's a lot of memorizing and conforming in the government schools with their blind chance dogmas of the Big Bang and evolution. But also there's memorizing and conforming with the flood models in the creation museums also. And it goes on to say, Chamberlain said, the danger of teaching only one explanation is especially great in the earth sciences, where much remains to be learned. Both the plate tectonic theory and the hydroplate theory claim to explain ocean trenches, earthquakes, and the ring of fire. The plate tectonics theory dominates the earth sciences, and a recent survey of scientists selected it as the most significant theory of the 20th century. Undoubtedly, Darwin's theory of organic evolution would have been voted the most significant theory of the 19th century. Both dominate despite growing recognition of their scientific problems because of the wonderful things he does. Because schools and the media ignore competing explanations. Chamberlain warned, oh no, not that. Chamberlain warned, I hate that. Okay, let's see. Let's search final thoughts. That might be, nope, that's not what we're doing. Back up, cancel, Command F, final thoughts. Now you can read it for yourself. Let's see how many of them we got. Probably not too many final thoughts. Yeah, here we go. Okay, and he goes on to say, okay, let's pick this up where it left off. Okay, both dominate despite growing recognition of their scientific problems because schools and the media ignore competing explanations. Chamberlain warned about the comfort of conformity. All right. Yep. The subject of trenches, earthquakes, and the ring of fire offers students and teachers a great opportunity. The two competing theories can be explained simply as was done in figures 85 and 90 to 92. More information can be added as student interest time permit. And he also goes on and he talks about how, let's see, let's go back to, okay. He also goes on and talks about the ring of fire. He didn't do that in his video, the ring of fire. That's the Pacific Ocean sunk in. Yeah, let's see, where is that? Plate tectonics. Ocean trenches. He's got a decision tree on this too. Where was that? Oh, I must have missed it. Okay. Decision tree. It's got to be here. Sorry about this. But yeah, you can play around all you want on this thing. Yeah, here's the decision tree. That's what I was looking for. How come I didn't find it? Okay, this is the theories on the evidence of ocean theories, origin of ocean trenches, earthquakes, and the ring of fire. And it goes down. The hydroplate theory is green all the way down, a few yellows. Plate tectonic theory is red all the way down with a few yellows. And these are the features on the side. And he does the same thing with plate tectonics, comparing it to the hydroplate. So those are things that you can look at. And we just want people to get all the information so they can make informed decisions. And so hopefully that's helpful for you. Again, this is an exciting adventure. We encourage you to participate, be part of the grassroots movement, and it helps bring the truth to light. An avalanche of truth is coming, and a theory that makes accurate predictions should be considered. It is very puzzling why it's not. And the more people ask questions about it, the more the light gets shined on that. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap this one up. That's probably long enough. And we're going to start with the next character, which will be Pastor Kevin Lee. So thank you for joining us for this. We hope that you enjoy this, hearing this. I don't enjoy presenting it, but the hydroplate theory is really fun. It'll color in the details. It answers the unanswered questions. And you can see that on, yeah, there's answers. Oh, yeah, as long as we brought it up. Let's go into this Solidify Your Faith YouTube channel, going into the hydroplate thing. Here's a talk given at St. Cloud State, Answers to Scientific Problems at St. Cloud State. They stole our posters twice. And there's another one. Let's see. Houston. Well, Houston, where is it? Houston. Let's see. Somebody flew me into Houston to give a talk. And where would that be? What's the easiest way to find it? It might be just to search Houston. Go up here into my channel and search Houston, where you're going to see a whole bunch of unanswered questions that were, all these quotes from different secular science journals, and the hydroplate answers all of them. Okay, where is it? Not there. Search answers, maybe. Answers. Let's see. I should have this better organized. Okay, here it is. Hydroplate flood models. This is it. If you want. Oh, am I sharing this? Okay, how did I find this? Okay, this is on the Solidify Your Faith YouTube channel, and it's the hydroplate flood model, answers and accurate predictions. And the backstory for this is, I'm pretty sure let's take somebody flew me to Houston to give a hydroplate talk. And there's all these unanswered questions right here. All those are they're just screenshots from secular journals and articles. Researchers want to know why unexpected. All these mysteries are answered with the hydroplate theory. So again, if we encourage you to learn more about this, and I better wrap this up for now. I better wrap this up. So thank you for your patience. I hope it was helpful. And we are going to be starting the next saga with a new character, Pastor Kevin Lee. And we're going to be taking a look about what he found out and what he wrote and what the responses were. So thank you for your interest, and I hope I'm making it worth your while.